Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sunday Wire. This is episode 548 of the Sunday Wire. Thank you to our guest before, Alan Misrahi. That was a bit tricky getting him connected. We eventually did. We started a little bit late, but it was well worth it, and I knew it would be because what Alan brings to the conversation is absolutely unique, and I can't thank him enough for sharing his thoughts, feelings, and insights with the current situation. Obviously, we can go a lot deeper in a lot of different areas with him. Hopefully, we'll get Alan back for another continuation of this important discussion. So much at stake for everybody right now in the world, and we thank him so much for joining us. Now, we're in Overdrive segment, and I want to bring on some of our teammates as well. Before we do that, though, I also want to point people up at 21stcenturywire.com. The Sunday screening this week is a pretty incredible film, and I'm very happy they've made this publicly available for everybody. This is why we're featuring it. It's called The Settlers. This was 2016 this was made. This is a really, if you saw the Louis Theroux film recently, which is excellent, in the style of Louis Theroux, this is quite a more developed, more detailed, multi-layered documentary. Quite an outstanding piece of film work, actually. It's one of the better documentaries you'll see on this topic or any topic historically, and just the documents, the interviews, everything, the effects, the way it's edited. It's quite a beautiful film, but it's an inside look, the hidden world of the Jewish settlers in the occupied West Bank. Okay, now you can see where things are really headed. When you watch this film, you'll know what the end game is, basically. But it gives you the whole historical background, how we got to this, all of the sort of chicanery and deception politically that was getting us there. The Settlers, that's up at 21stcenturywire.com. That's our Sunday screening this week. Every Sunday we feature a documentary film. Our team puts it up there, puts it up, and we share it with our audience, and a lot of you guys appreciate that. I know you do. You'll love this film for sure. Now, without further ado, I want to bring on stage a couple of our teammates and friends, colleagues. Mr. Basil Valentine joining us on the live link right now. I'm sure Basil found that last conversation with our guest extremely interesting. He may comment on that, and also Ruckus, Adam Clark, aka Ruckus, joining us from Alternate Current Radio. And also Bryan McClain, a.k.a. Hesher, also host of the Boiler Room at ACR. It's a pretty formidable brain trust we brought together here. You guys and your backgrounds are really something else, I'll tell you. And don't tell me you don't.
We're reporting from an undisclosed location.
Don't tell me you're not coordinating these things as well. So very interesting, very interesting. So Basil's the only one with a normal, myself and Basil, with a normal background. Are you guys going to wrap up a little note and stick it in the hole behind there?
I need the hat first. I need a little hat.
You need a little hat. Yeah, you need the little hat. And you're good to go. If you do that, you're halfway to becoming a U.S. senator. So just
maybe they would just remove. I'd be happy if they would just remove my my visibility filtering and shadow banning. I mean, is that what has to happen? I mean, do I have to go kneel before the wall and stick a note in there, and do the visibility filters automatically disappear? That's my question to Elon.
They might. It could help. It could help. You could put out a whole declaration appeal conversion. And you're willing to convert? That's probably what it's going to take at this point. You got to go all the way. Basil, I don't think he's willing to do that to get his Twitter account back after taking on the information minister of propaganda from the state of Israel, which is how Basil lost his account. He took on the mighty and powerful Elon Levy, who's one of the most hated people in the world, but it got Basil's X account nuked. Unfortunately, that's why you're not.
I have some breaking news in this department, Patrick. You're not going to believe this.
Go ahead. We'll let Basil weigh in, but go ahead quickly.
Yeah. Real quick, just while we're on the topic here, because I had difficulty finding your post today, so I had to sign into my other account, which is not verified, the Ruckus Room, and as you can see here, X itself advised me that I should become verified so that I can get boosted. Reply and reach, so all you have to do is get the verified check mark and you get the boosted reach. apparently, but obviously we know that's a lie. So I thought that was incredibly ironic and strangely timely. I'm like, what? Who do these people
Great
think?
job, guys. Do you trust that he can put Dubai on Mars in 5 years like he promises? He can't even run this damn app. Sorry for being cruel. Basil Valentine, are you going to get your Twitter account back?
Well, I said that the perpetrators of the Gaza Holocaust should face the same penalties as the Nazis did at the end of the Second World War, some of whom, of course, were hanged, and he took that to be a personal threat. So obviously guilty conscience there. You can't threaten people on Twitter. So, but it seems you can say all sorts. I mean, I've made a collection of other things where people have been far more direct in terms of threats, and I'm going to get back in touch with them at some point. But I want to go back to what Alon Mizrahi was saying, that it's not a difficult moral conundrum. You know, are you in favor of the mass murder and mutilation of babies and children and starving the remainder to death? Yes, no, you know. And you are a total failure as a human being and a deeply evil person. It's worth remembering, of course, that Netanyahu likes to frame the Gaza Holocaust as one where Israel is the side of the light, believe it or not. But that's what you expect from a Satanist, from a Luciferian. They claim to be the light bringers, just as they slaughter people. At least 38 Palestinians have been killed in the last 24 hours in Gaza. I always feel we need to mention what's going on. Lots of people still under the rubble after attacks on Deir al-Balah and Jabalia camp today. And of course, just yesterday, 9 siblings were murdered in a single attack. The children of a surgeon. The Israelis waited until the father went in the house before firing a missile into it, killing everybody inside. I mean, the war crimes are just off the charts. So as Alon said, even what was happening before the ceasefire, I mean, that was as bad as it gets. But they've gone on an insane killing orgy, a real bloodlust since Netanyahu collapsed the ceasefire. And it is a kind of primordial insanity, as Elon said. But the stonewalling from politicians, he referenced the United States, I've been looking at the United Kingdom today, continues. You had the so-called leader of the Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, was on television this morning. She was asked about Palestinian casualties and the genocide, and in her reply, she didn't mention the word Palestinian once. She simply talked about October the 7th and the killing of Israelis. And all. It was a really bizarre answer to be asked about the genocide, and simply to go back to a single day 18 months ago as if nothing has happened since. But she made an equally telling comment, more so really, on Sky News when she said that Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, just as Ukraine is doing against Russia. Now, I mean, we haven't heard anything like this from a British politician before. I mean, she is totally out of her depth. She's not intellectually equipped really to be an MP, let alone leader of a once major party. But nevertheless, is she letting something slip that she knows from the corridors of power? You know, she basically supported Netanyahu's statement that Keir Starmer, Macron, and Mark Carney are all anti-Semites for daring to say, you know, perhaps you've done enough killing for the time being. The optics of starving hundreds of thousands of people to death aren't fantastic. How about easing up a bit? And Badenoch pushed back against that. Now, you know, the British people are being done a great disservice by people like her. She doesn't represent anybody at all except her own opinions. And, you know, organizations like the Tory party really need to be decapitated.
But just hold on, rewind a little bit. She said that Britain's fighting a proxy war.
Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK in Gaza.
Which infers that Britain is using Israel to fight a war against Iran. Is that probably what she's talking about?
You know, possibly. I mean, she moved very quickly on to her next statement, which was that Ukraine is fighting a proxy war for the UK against Russia. She seems to be all in favor of proxy wars. I'm sure she'd like to escalate them. But yes, that's basically what she's saying. No, I mean, we know how deeply anti-Russian, how Russophobic the UK national security state is. But saying as she did that Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK with the genocide, well, she's not in power. I don't know the extent to which she can be held culpable and charges brought against her. She was part of the last Conservative government, and the genocide was well underway before last July. So she's another one that need to go on the prosecute list. But my final point is this: she does unfortunately represent a strand in right-wing British thinking, which has been, of course, hijacked by the likes of Tommy Robinson. You have a nasty confluence, a coming together of traditional, as it were, Zionists like Michael Gove, who one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen, said that the IDF should be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, believe it or not. I mean, really insane, total inversion of reality. You've got sort of horrid little Zionists like him, full-throated in their support of the genocide because they're Israel lovers, and then the likes of Tommy Robinson stirring up the increasingly vocal nationalist right in Britain, reform type voters, and his pitch is, again, I mean, we don't know whether he's directly paid by Mossad or not. Is it relevant? But is echoing the Israeli talking point that they are engaged in an existential war on behalf of Western civilization against the Muslim hordes. And, that resonates with low IQ right wingers in Britain who go, "Oh, I don't like Muslims either. There's too many of them in Britain. So if Israel's anti-Muslim, then I'm pro-Israel. Simple as that." Completely unaware of the fact that the Palestinians are the indigenous people to the area. So if they support indigenous people like indigenous Brits against recent arrivals, they should support the Palestinians against the recent Israeli arrivals. But that kind of logic doesn't make its way through. I mean, there are other figures on the sort of so-called far right, like Nick Griffin, who are far more politically savvy and know what's going on. But there's this, as I say, there's this unholy alliance on the right, which actually only represents a relatively small percentage of public opinion. Polls in the UK show overwhelming support for the Palestinian cause. Well, and just most people are capable of recognizing genocide when they see it. But you've got this unholy alliance, as I say, of nationalists hoodwinked into believing that Israel's cause is somehow linked to their own. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's worth pointing out to them that the hordes of Muslim immigrants that they object to so much have been driven here largely by wars conducted for Israel, Afghanistan, of course, Iraq, and Syria. All that has been thrown into turmoil at Israel's behest. And so hence we see lots of people crossing the channel from those parts of the world to the UK. But that's far too subtle a point for most of that lot to grasp.
Indeed it is. And I'll go to our colleagues here, Hesher and Ruckus, but this is exactly why Israel is supporting this idea of a white genocide in South Africa. And they're trying to bring that immigration issue together with somehow an overall worldview, foreign policy. This is why they are very keen to back re-immigration conferences in Britain. You've probably seen these as well. This is the Israeli lobby, and they're flying these people over to America to do podcasts with Ben Shapiro and Dave Rubin. And I don't know, I'm just, putting two and two together. I see the money flowing there, and I see the rhetoric and how it's shaping the White House policy, and it's kind of a no-brainer to me, Hesher and Ruckus. I don't know if you guys have picked up connected any of these dangerous dots recently. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It really feels to me like they're trying to do the same thing with this topic that they've done with so many other topics, which is make it be political, make it be about right versus left, make it be about, Democrats. And it's such a thin veneer. This whole idea, is insanely thin. Only those low IQ people that Basil just mentioned, who don't look very deeply into much of anything when it comes to world events, are going to buy into this. Alon said it really well there near the end of his segment. And, he was talking about, when he discovered Walt Whitman and all these other American authors. And, that's the whole thing with this country. We're allowed to dissent, and governments do go bad. And we have a constitutional duty to disallow that from happening. So how we go about that when things are this far gone, I don't really know yet. I'm not really sure. But I don't know. At this point, it's like I could sit here and say free Palestine and oppose neocons. And according to Piers Morgan and Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm singing the chorus to Kanye's new song by saying that. And I don't know how to feel about the whole like Kanye thing and where this all comes into it. Is this a natural reaction from him? Because if it is a natural reaction, it's totally understandable. But we can't lose sight of the fact that he's been threatened with MK Ultra style punishments for speaking out in the past, and that leaves a little bit of room for questioning. So, free Palestine, oppose warmonger neocons. There, I said it. I guess I may as well be in Kanye's troop of dudes, outside of Diddy's star on the Walk of Hollywood fame. Did you guys see that? That was bananas.
No, what happened?
So Kanye, about a week ago, I saw a report, somebody reporting from outside of a industrial building that Kanye owns or rents, and they showed a flyer that he put out. And it said, I'm looking for these type of people to come and, practice for something. They didn't really say what it was. So there's these people outside this compound, and they can literally hear a bunch of dudes inside the compound screaming HH, and listening to the song. And then just this week, a group of African-American dudes dressed in all black circled around Diddy's star on the Walk of Fame, and they all performed Kanye's song. They all sat there and did the whole HH thing right there in the middle of Hollywood. It was one of the most bizarre displays I've ever seen. I have no way, I have no means of analyzing this without more information. All I know is something weird has been going on ever since Kanye showed up with the net and the mask and the Yahoo chocolate drink. The world got flipped upside down. The Overton window got not just nudged, got shoved in a very different direction. And now none of these social media channels are stopping us from having these conversations anymore, which they were doing before that event. And now we're at the point where Kanye's dudes are literally screaming HH in the streets in Hollywood. And all this conversation's going on. And I can't help but think, I don't know if that's helping or if that's hurting, because it's polarizing people. It's dragging some people over to that side, but I don't know if they have the nuance and the context with which to describe what they're doing and what they're saying and why they're supporting it. Maybe some of them do. I'd love to hear some of their longer form responses to it. But something very strange is going on, and I think it has to do with the politicization of the topic, just like they did with COVID. Remember, with COVID, it was like, no, nobody on either side is going to talk about it. Nobody on either side is allowed to show any hesitancy, any any argumentation against the safety, the effectiveness, and the necessity of it all. And then once midterm elections came up in 2022, in the lead up to midterm elections, all of a sudden you had mainstream podcasters and mainstream Republicans talking about lab leaks in China and don't trust the the various products that are being injected into people. And where were you guys? We've said this over and over again. Where were all you people when we were getting shadow banned, when we were getting called grandma killer for like a year and a half, almost 2 years? We were getting called these things. And now all of a sudden, no big deal. It's okay. It's political. It's a right versus left thing. People on the left are smart. People on the right are stupid. And I'm afraid that's where they're trying to nudge this topic. However, I think a lot of people are getting smart. A lot of people are getting, forgive the term, very red-pilled on this topic over the last, what are we going on 3 years now of this despicable, horrible genocide leading to potentially a war with Iran. And, I think that's the other thing that was said by Elon. That's what I'm waiting on. Like everything else is noise at this point. Gaza's pretty much gone. Now they're destroying the rubble. They're doing missions to like level the rubble now, to hide all the evidence, hide all the bodies. I mean, they're just vaporizing entire blocks that are nothing but they've already been vaporized, but now they're being re-vaporized down to dust. So this is pretty much dead and done. Forgive the pun. It's horrible. But when I look there, I see nothing left. So the next thing is Iran. Is this going to blow up into Iran? Is this going to blow up into a world war or something like that, or a massive attack, preemptive attack on Iran for no reason, for propaganda reasons? That's pretty much what I'm waiting for right now.
Yes, and maybe even a little property deal there on the Gaza Strip after it's all said and done for our man and Jared and the rest of them. Ruckus, what do you make of all this?
The scenario and what you're describing there, Hesher, is technically nothing new, and we've all experienced it and dealt with it together along the way. Take 9/11 for a perfect example. You just said things turning to dust, and I was like, oh yeah, perfect correlation here. And the lab leak thing, I mean, it's like every single narrative on the planet how do you know it's a narrative? How do you know it's a psyop? Because they instantly have this, what appears to be an organic growth from within these movements to then control it and shape the narrative. So it's okay for a select group of the population. Heck, the whole world can run around and say 9/11 was an inside job. But as long as they think that, rather than knowing the actual truth of what happened that day, it's totally okay for them to say that. Whereas like any other country, to suggest that your own country was involved in doing such a thing, there's no way that would fly, right? But it's totally cool here. Epstein didn't kill himself, popular conspiracy theory. So let's all argue about whether or not he killed himself or that he was murdered, when maybe the guy's living up on an island somewhere. Let's go back and forth about the lab leak. Was it the bat soup? Or hey, maybe there's no such thing as a virus. These are all, there's all these different talking points. So I don't trust any of the narratives. It seems very controlled with this being allowed to talk about the J word. I don't believe it for a second. You look at the people who are doing these things, it's that hard swing to the far extreme. It's always to the extreme. There's no nuance. Everything's getting conflated. And right now we're at a seriously dangerous point when legislation is being discussed to make it illegal, dangerous for Hesher to say what he just said, to just practice his First Amendment rights. He just called for violence, according to some of these people. And we may have just lost the YouTube stream for talking about this stuff. That's where we're headed. And that's what I'm very concerned about. By the way, the only person that I'd heard making that connection about South Africa and the genocide was you, Patrick. But maybe because I've been not seeing a lot of good stuff on my X feed lately. But I do believe what you were talking about in there, I think there's the hidden red herring is Elon Musk. I think like the mainstream media on the left side, the liberal media, will be happy to examine this and say, oh, wait a minute, did they set this guy up in order to do a favor for Elon Musk? Again, keeping all eyes off of the potential real issue, because a lot of these countries seem to be getting you know, bad things keep happening to them. Like they got some sort of bad karma following them around after making comments about the ICC case, like Spain. Oh, sorry, there went all your communications, you know, stuff like that. It's very, very suspicious lately, folks.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. And
there was a power cut in Cannes as well. You know, for the Cannes Film Festival, they had a power cut. And of course, Julian Assange has been there last week, and he wore a T-shirt with the names of thousands of murdered Palestinian children printed very small on it. I don't know if you saw that. Although there were a lot of press photographers taking snaps of him, and a new film about his incarceration was screened. There was very little coverage in the corporate media of the shirt he unveiled on the red carpet and why he was wearing it.
yeah, that was
But
great
yes,
to see.
I mean, also there was a screening of the documentary made by the Palestinian filmmaker who was murdered immediately after hearing that her film had been selected. Do you remember about that, Patrick?
Yes, I do. Yep.
And that was originally due to take place in one of the hotels, the Hotel Majestic Barrière, but that had to be moved at the last minute to one of the pavilions inside the festival itself. I don't know why. I think it's highly likely that the hotel came under pressure from the death cult not to show the film.
Yes, and as I was saying a minute ago, that it's great to see Julian made it there. I think that was amazing that he.
I was disappointed that I didn't make it there, Patrick. I would like to have been there. You should have been there. We should have been at that screening with Julian. We should have been at the screening of the Palestinian film, but unfortunately, it wasn't to be this year.
Yeah, that would have been something. But anyway, it's great to see Assange there. It's a brilliant film, according to people I know that have seen the screening. So I think that's great that that's on the historic record, and we'll have correct the story on Julian Assange and let the establishment languish. But Ruckus and you guys, you mentioned this white genocide thing. I mean, I think we might have a couple of clips we'll throw up on the screen, but this was really another level for me to see this. Trump saying, let's turn down the lights, and like literally, like he ambushed. He literally shanghaied the head of state. I mean, it's kind of like that's probably the worst thing you can do when you invite someone for a state visit is to set them up. But to me, the humiliation was on Trump because the South Africans are like, this guy's freaking crazy. Like these people are just making shit up. And then like he had all these internet articles and Trump says, death. He's turning these pages. I've got a video of this. You guys, I mean, I know you guys have watched this, but for those of our listeners who haven't, we'll give them a little bit of a taster here. There's so much. This thing is just full of highlights. If I was to put a reel together, it was so incredible. But watch this.
I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one.
A few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death.
So the death, horrible death. So it's absolutely incredible. One of those articles Trump had was from the American Thinker, and it was an article about Congolese women that were killed in some event in Congo, and he literally showed it on camera, so people screenshot it, did the quick search on it, found out it had nothing to do with South Africa. I mean, that alone is embarrassing. But Trump said that there are mass graves, and he was talking about this clip that's gone viral, and he cut it. So they're cherry picking clips from videos without context, and he basically said this is evidence of a white genocide, that there's white crosses along the road, and that this was somehow, you know, a genocide. But here's that. So what we did was just basically go online and look for the original. It was a documentary from 2020, and they weren't graves. They were a memorial for 2 people that were killed. And the crosses were put up by blacks and whites from the area to have a kind of message of unity against crime and farmers being killed, black and white. So Trump and Elon Musk really twisted this and turned it into a racial kind of provocation. That's just the opposite of what, and the crosses aren't there. I went to Google Maps. The earliest photo, the latest photo is from 2023. They removed the crosses. So not only is it not a mass grave, the crosses aren't there. And so Trump got this, you know, 5-year-old documentary. Here's a clip from it.
So what happened to him, although he's white, we don't look at the color, we look at what we are doing. We are doing the same thing. We are all farmers. Next time it's going to be me.
We're here this morning at Newcastle, where last week there was a couple murdered just outside towards Normandy Way. So all the farmers and everyone interested in the cause has gathered together now, and we are going to be driving from Newcastle to Normandy to the farm where the couple was murdered, and fighting for the cause, for fighting for the farmers, fighting for equality, fighting against corruption.
A local farmer and friend of the Raffertys, Rob Houghton, put up hundreds of crosses along the road leading to their farm almost overnight. 3,000 people climbed into 1,000 or so vehicles, tractors, buckies, sprayers, trucks, combis and cars. It took hours for the somber procession to pass the boulevard of crosses.
So it's not a mass grave, guys. And it's not like white genocide. It's the opposite. And people aren't, the South Africans aren't polarized over that event, but Trump and Elon Musk are polarized, and they managed to get the entire Fox News crowd, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and then the whole MAGA right thinking that that was a white genocide. I mean, this is beyond propaganda. This is like the lowest level of information I've ever seen, guys. And, you know, and hats off to our team, Freddie, of course, giving him all the credit for putting this. This is like basically all of the questions you could possibly want to know as to the true state of affairs. And it's all here. And admissions from, you know, Afrikaners saying that there's no white genocide. This guy here from the AfriForum, the Afrikaans organization, on categorically, no, there's no white genocide here. All I had to do was Google this. It wasn't, I mean, what's up with Trump's research team, guys? What sort of talent they got there?
I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I mean, through my Telegram account and my X account, and, you know, being connected to journalists around the world and just people around the world that have been recommended, have seen mass graves, have seen actual real-time mass graves in Ukraine and in Gaza. So, you know, for a mass grave situation to be made up and a genocide to be made up, are things perfect in South Africa? No, there's corruption, there's violence. It's not great in many places. It's dangerous in many places. But guess what? That's happening here in America too. Right now, it's getting worse. They tell us it's getting better because they closed the border and they're deporting people, but actually it continues to degrade. So, you know, pretty stark when you see actual real mass graves and that kind of horror happening in near real time on your little Black Mirror device. And then these guys want to come out and tell us, "Oh, look over here. Look over here at the white people being killed."
No, I'll really bring it home for you, Hesher, on that front. In America, so I looked at the crime statistics from South Africa. Last year, I think there were 30 farmers were killed in South Africa. Okay, it's a huge country. I don't know what the population is. It's probably around 100 million, or it's 50, way more than 50 million. Anyway, 30 million people were killed, farmers, and some were black farm workers and tenant farmers, as well as owners, you could say, operator owners. So a total of 30. Okay, so and it's possible, according to last year's statistics, that more black farmers or people working on farms were killed than white farmers out of the total farmers. In America, how many farmers committed suicide last year because their land is being repoed by banks with predatory practices, lending, corporate thievery, takeovers by Bill Gates, and corporations muscling small family farms out of business, making it impossible for them to make money. I don't have the statistics to hand, but I tell you, it might be well higher than 30. Does Donald Trump give a flying you-know-what about American farmers? Or is Elon Musk running our foreign policy with lies and gaslighting? I tell you what, this is just so lowbrow, you know, and it's so America last, you know. Now we got to save the Afrikaners from a white genocide that's not happening. So F America is what Musk is saying, and what Trump is doing, and what Rubio is doing. They don't want to deal with American problems because they're too difficult to solve, because you need to have some brain power to do that. I don't see it, guys. I'm not seeing it. I'm really not. The big beautiful bill, I'm not impressed.
I mean, yeah, I was supposed to mention
Basil, jump in, and then I want to hear from Ruckus. Go ahead, Basil.
Well, I mean, the really startling thing is that Trump's so concerned about genocide. Why isn't he talking about the very obvious genocide going on in Gaza? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous to give the South African premier a dressing down about something that isn't happening. I mean, supposedly the idea is Trump is terribly upset about the loss of human life. Well, it's just total garbage. He's just trying to score some political points. There have been some horrific murders of white farmers in South Africa. I've heard one or two absolutely awful, blood-curdling stories about people in outlying farms who've been the victims of gang attacks, you know. But the head of the Farmers Union in South Africa, white guy, he appeared midweek to say this is not happening. There's no genocide going on. Of course, you have got Julius Malema, the Communist Party leader, and that famous song, Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer.
Mm.
There's footage of that. I think that's amongst the things that Trump played to the premier, to Ramaphosa. But that apparently requires historical context. Apparently, it's not meant to be taken literally. But you know, that was what the talking heads on CNN were saying in the week. You know, that kill the Boer, kill the farmer doesn't mean it. As Hesher said, they've got big problems in South Africa, but genocide is not the right word to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you're right. My South African friends are trying to explain to me Julius Malema is the extreme fringe of South African politics, and there's a court cases against him. So the government has basically got him by the ear for provocations and things like that. So he's not a political leader. He's not even in the ANC party. He was kicked out, I think, in 2012. If I'm not mistaken. So fringe, but you know, of course there are, you know, that fringe exists in a post-apartheid country where the 7% of the population still owns 75% of the land and assets. The white population, 7%, they own 75%. You're going to have these problems. I'm sorry. It's post-colonial, post-apartheid. Deal with it, guys. It's not going to be, like you said, Basil, it's not perfect. Russia, Freudian slip. I saw the flag on the comment. Ruckus, go ahead.
The whole thing is so quite obviously a show, a performance of sort, right down to the props. How do you know that it's propaganda when they're using props? I mean, quite literally, how badly do you have to convince somebody about something? And how do you do that? The visual aids, they do this in court. They do this for kids. This was not for the benefit of the gentleman in the chair, the South African leader. So like this was a show. This was like an episode on MAGA TV, and that's exactly you guys are all nailing it. He cherry picked all this stuff, knowing that nobody's going to bother to do their research on this, and if they do, they're going to send out the likes of like a Jen Psaki or somebody. And so when your friend shares it, hey, by the way, just so you know, Trump did, like, oh, you're crazy because consider the source, these wacko people. Like, so totally not going anywhere with that. So again, who are they trying to convince, and why? It reminds me, and where did they get this playbook from? You were wondering who wrote all of this, the script and everything for them. I've seen this exact same behavior coming from the Israeli leadership. I remember fondly many years ago, back when things weren't so tense as they are now, but they were still tense. And Bibi Netanyahu, I think it was in front of the UN or somebody, and he threw down like a hunk of metal, like he was like, there's your evidence. Here's like a drone that we shot down from the sky. It was like an Iranian. It was just very over dramatic. And it was like, I was like, did he just bring in like a prop and throw it on the ground and like same thing? Like, we got the little virus thing inside the vial. See, it's right here. I brought it in my jacket, and here it's around everybody. You want to see it? You want to touch it? You want to smell it? The anthrax thing, of course. But yeah, so I'm like, this is like a red flag all over the place that this is totally false. And you know, for the people who want to seriously question it, I'm sure they'll just have to hear the fact that, oh, you're mistaken, the flags are gone. Well, that's because it's the Mandela effect, bro.
Yeah, a quick fire round here. I want to go to Hesher in a moment. Maybe you might comment on this, Hesher, because this is very interesting. Trump convinced farmers. This is from Joseph Houghton. Thank you, Joseph, from YouTube. Trump convinced farmers to take loans for that big, beautiful new equipment in 2017, just to shut down the economy for 2 years. COVID, another bonehead move. Yeah, there's a lot of complaints like this. There is a lot of stuff that's been swept under the rug from, before. And of course, working class people, farmers especially, have been bearing the brunt of a lot of this pain and suffering. Hesher, your thoughts?
Did I hear you right? You said 30 farmers in a year?
Yeah, that's South Africa. Yeah, it's a big genocide.
All right. Well, speaking for Chicago, in Chi-Town, that is actually a light weekend of murder. That's right. A light, fairly not too bad weekend of murder.
Where's generally Chicago? Hesher, where's Chicago? Where is Chicago? What country is that in?
This one, United States of America.
We don't care about that. It's American. Oh. We don't care. Forget that. Look over here. Look across the world. There's something going on. There's a penguin genocide in Antarctica.
Yeah. Right. And it's a holiday weekend. Happy Memorial Day, everybody, by the way. But a holiday weekend is, generally speaking, the worst weekend in places like Chicago, places like New Orleans, places like Houston, places like Los Angeles that have really, really high murder rates. I can guarantee you that as of today, I mean, I'll eat my sandal if I'm wrong, we've probably already hit 30 gun deaths in Chicago by Sunday, and this weekend doesn't end until tomorrow's over, because tomorrow's a holiday.
Yeah, that's a light weekend. Light weekend. That's a safe weekend, Hesher.
And it's never reported on. The mass media cartel, they never, ever, ever want to tell us what the death toll was in Chi-Town this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, because people started asking questions and demanding that something be done about it. But it seems like it's a gun-free zone as well. By the way, Chicago, just officially, legally a gun-free zone.
Strictest gun control in the country, next to certain parts of New York, California, and Massachusetts.
Go figure. That's how that works, folks. So here's the Micro Psycho. This is a great handle on on X here. Trump is completely silent on Gaza and posting filthy videos about redevelopment. And so spill your bile here. You're you among the more intelligent people. Yeah, we feel you. We feel you. WWF special edition. Yeah, it was kind of WWF in the showmanship way, but the South Africans weren't faking it. They came up there, I think, in good faith. And Cyril Ramaphosa, guys, is not stupid. Okay, he knew there was going to be some flack, so he brought his agricultural minister, who's Afrikaans, white, and he brought 2 PGA ranked golfers from South Africa because he knew Trump would like.
Yeah, 2 white guys. Ernie Els was one of them, which was great.
Did you catch that, Basil?
Yes, Ernie Els was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Former Masters champion.
So Trump, so Ramaphosa is not. This is not a stupid guy. You know, he's very polished, Ramaphosa, and it was very. I mean, to me, I was just embarrassed, and I thought, you just don't deserve to be president, treating people like that. That is just like very. You don't do that anywhere, not even at a presidential level. You know, you don't do that at a corporate level. You don't do that as a school teacher, as a. It's just. The caliber of people he's got around him must be such street trade to try to pull, because Trump doesn't know what he's looking at. They say, Donald, look at all these deaths, and be like, oh, that's terrible. Yes, you know, he doesn't know. But so the people around him should have like a little bit of an idea of what might be true, unless they're just intentionally being deceptive. I don't want to think that I'm just thinking they're stupid and they're carried away with the narrative. Elon, on the other hand, knows. Elon knows, and he's spinning it, and Elon is one of the most dangerous people in politics, because he was not elected.
He's out of politics now. He's decided he's had enough. He says he's not going to spend any more money on politics. Good. I mean, he's had his fingers really badly burnt. The whole Tesla thing has started to crater.
Wow, that's breaking. Elon's out of politics. Basil just broke the biggest story of the week. Breaking.
Yeah.
Now he can focus on making money in the new technocratic right. You know, of course he's going to stop spending money. He's bought his way into making money, which is what smart investors do. You buy your way into making money. And it looks like him and all of those in his class, in that odd stratosphere of elite tech bros, can all focus on exactly that now. And one place I can say you will see that kind of gotcha sort of thing that we just saw in the White House from Trump is on reality television or on mass media productions. That's where you see that kind of stuff. And, you know, people talk a lot about Trump's background and how he is a reality TV person. Well, that was a reality TV tactic right there for a big, for a big viewership, for a big, own someone and get the clip, and boom, you're going to get funded for season 2.
That's it. You got it. Totally fake, totally superficial. It was just for a sound bite, a meme. And all his acolytes and MAGA people said, "Oh my God, Trump owned this guy. He really just showed him." That was one of the great. I think it was Viva Fry, is this conservative influencer guy, whatever. He said this is one of the greatest moments in presidential. He's Canadian, by the way. But anyway, this is one of the greatest moments in presidential history. I'm like, you're a lawyer. Did you check any of the stuff he presented? No. So you're obviously not a very good lawyer. Oh, that's why you're making YouTube videos and not owning a law firm. I get it. Okay, great. I mean, it's just basic stuff. I started a little war between us, by the way, on X, because I challenged him on his comment. He got very, very upset and did this unhinged liberal style rant tweet against me, but didn't address any of the actual substantive points I was asking about, which is, what's Trump presenting there? Is it true or false? Turns out to be false, of course. I'm no genius. But Ruckus, this is showing you again, we have these high-level commenters in our threads, and I like this one particularly. Surprised he didn't show a satellite image of white farmer concentration camps. Hey, it can be done. It can be done. You just have to get your team on it. Get Dan Scavino on it. find something on Google Maps that looks like a concentration camp.
That's how you know they're not serious. So this was one of two options. It was just to be super low hanging fruit for the MAGA base, who we've discussed around. Not all MAGA, but like the ones who are just like, oh yeah, they'll take everything that they say and believe it, run with it, whatever, repeat it, make it go viral. The blue check marks that just repost each other all the time with the breaking, Trump just owned this guy. I'm like, well, I mean, the same kind of scenario as if you invite somebody into a professional setting with the intention to do X, Y, and Z, and then you're like, yeah, we're going to do that, but first, can we lower the lights? I got this picture of you in a compromising position with a prostitute. It's like, what the heck is this? It's pretty wild. But that's one option. The other option, of course, is that they could always flip the script, because remember, Trump made a lot of mistakes, as it were, during the 2020 thing, and then they were like, oh well, it wasn't Trump's fault. It was the people close to him. They deceived him. Maybe they've the far lefty Democrats, those crazy people, have infiltrated the White House and the people close to the president. And they're doing this on purpose to make him look bad. I have no idea, but they're not very serious about selling this to anyone other than the low level, MAGA crowd. To be completely honest, it's quite obvious.
Okay, Hesher, I'm going to put you on the spot because this one's for you. This one's for you, mate. We're going to defer to the experts on this. David Moore says black intra-racial gun violence is not the same as targeted violence against white landowners. Break this argument down for us, please.
Well, I mean, I think I would agree with you. It's kind of an apples and oranges situation. But the statistics remain. And the thing that really gets me about this is like these statistics held up even when Obama was president. And you would think that would be something that that Obama would address in a way other than just doing what the left always does and push push removal of the Second Amendment, go to the gun grab, when his own hometown is just hemorrhaging lives, so one might wonder, well, okay, is that sort of like omission and negligence? Is that sort of maybe a softer appearing form of targeted violence? I don't know. Because that's basically about poverty and education and just the absolutely horrible feedback loop of being stuck in some of these places where that's life. So the fact that that's not being addressed is one could make an argument that it is a form of targeted violence against a group of people.
Yeah, exactly. That's we're asking how best to reframe the argument so it makes a little bit better sense. Just image in your head, guys. Ramaphosa invites Trump to Johannesburg for a meeting and says, turn down the lights. We have something to what's going to be on that slideshow? I'm thinking Epstein pictures, parties with Trump, Epstein. And then imagine if that was done on like global TV. I mean, they'd probably nuke South Africa after that. I mean, Trump would, but it's ridiculous. The whole concept of Shanghaiing a world leader like that.
Well, I mean, as I say, I keep coming back to the same point, but South Africa's taken Israel to the International Court of Justice for perpetrating an actual genocide. And they've started having their diplomats sanctioned by the United States for doing so. There's been huge pushback against that. So of all the people to accuse genocide of, you're actually accusing the country taking the lead in trying to prevent one that we all know is going on.
Yeah, and that's the obvious point. It's kind of like it is a gaslighting exercise. It's kind of obvious. We really want to punish South Africa, demean a real genocide while propping up a fake one. I mean, it's perfect.
Yes.
And they did pressure Congress to get the U.S. Israeli lobby pressured U.S. Congress specifically to pressure the ICJ to drop the case. That was widely reported in late in 2024. So it's not, this isn't conspiracy theory. This is hardcore politics we're witnessing. And
it could be an attempt to water down the search terms for genocide, because they do that stuff all the time too. Because it was the timing of it was right during or on the heels of massive reporting coming from the United Nations about the starvation of the Gazans and genocide this, genocide that. Yeah. We saw the thing happen with Theo Von and the back and forth there, who, by the way, Viva Fry, who you mentioned earlier, was one of the people who attacked that guy on X for his comments, which was just ridiculous. They sent the usual suspects, people like him. Tim Pool, I think, also ganged up against Theo. Yeah, I'm like, what is going on here? So again, I think maybe it was just a poor-hearted last-minute attempt to we gotta get everybody who's, when they're searching genocide, we want to see Trump acting like a clown with the South African guy rather than the real stuff. But who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, the Theo Von. I replied to Theo Von, but mine was constructive. I was like, Theo, better late than never. But you do realize you're platforming Jared Kushner. He's directly involved in all that. Just saying, and try to. It's not too late to make amends for basically being AWOL on the issue for a year and a half. Do something for humanity, Theo. I was just throwing it out there. Whether that interests these millionaire podcasters or not, maybe. I mean, I think if you've made it to a certain level, you've got escape velocity, unless they think they're going to get Kanye'd. Do they think they're going to get Kanye'd? These guys? Anyone?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
They can speak out then. They can do it. I think most of them could survive if they're smart, just by pitching their sale a certain way. I mean, how much money do you need? They've all paid off their houses. They've got second homes. They got trophy wives.
Huge audiences that will follow them anywhere they go.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's a good time for some of these people. Rogan is starting to go. He's been going off the reservation in the last couple of months. So, he's super high in terms of net worth. So it's like, are these guys looking at Rogan and thinking, I need to be at that, I need to be worth 100 million before I have escape velocity, when they're down there at sort of 5 million? Some of these podcasters are 10 million. I mean, is that the way they're thinking? I don't understand. They own their platforms, a lot of them. They're totally self-sufficient. They could just say F you to everybody if they wanted and just do their thing. I don't know. I don't get it. Or
Unless
I guess
they're worried about being Epsteined or Bill Coopered. So it might not always be about money.
Yeah, Epstein, Bill Coopered, or Chris Cuomo'd. Just kidding. But a couple comments were going in here. I like this. This is class. South African president is the statesman. Trump is just an apprentice. Yeah, you could say that. And there we go. This is good. The footage. Oh, this is in the meeting with Ramaphosa that we imagined. The footage of Elon looking at. Oh no, this was in the White House. This person saying, looking at the South African president. Elon was giving him the eye. He tried to intimidate him. But did you guys see Elon giving him it was like looking down and kind of almost like F you kind of thing. I'm going to get my Starlink in there. Kind of thing. I mean, this guy's such a clown. I mean, if you had that much money and clout as Musk, you wouldn't have to be clownish. You could just be just hold it together. You know what I mean? Keep the clowning to a minimum. Maybe hire someone as your clown check. To keep, I don't know. I have your Harvey Pasternak checking your clownish behavior, like someone like your assistant, and he's all over the place. This guy. I mean, I don't trust that he's going to pull off the Mars thing anymore. Because he can't even get X to work. Have you guys had problems on X this week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a mess.
It's more than a mess. It still hasn't fixed itself. Permanently broken.
Wait till we trust him with the brain chips. That's going to be fun.
Oh yeah. You can't even get an app to work, and you want to put a damn chip in our brain and get us like a little rat in a maze. No, thank you. This is a bad. This is. I'm gonna play this up. Actually, these are good talking points. We're gonna run with these for the next week or so. How can we trust Elon to stick a damn chip in your brain if he can't even run X? Maybe his 5-year-old son's doing the coding. I would not be surprised, knowing Elon. He's saying, this is easy. I'll get my 4-year-old to do it. Kind of thing. Oh, that'd be really cool. Right? Elon? I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. You think I'm joking, you guys, don't you? I'm dead serious.
What could go wrong? I mean, just hand it to the child, hand it to, Big Balls or whoever, just I mean, where are we? I mean, and I got to say, this whole thing that's happened in the White House this week, I was really kind of, holding a little bit of light and a little bit of hope that like diplomatic talks were happening in certain places, that whereas under Biden, there just pretty much was no diplomatic speaking at all. But like, if this is, you had a foreign leader travel across the ocean to come here and do this, when you could have just rang him up and said, hey, my people are telling me I don't know what's going on over there, but the news articles I'm seeing and the people that are telling me there's a genocide happening, is this true? What information can you send me, or have an ambassador do that and bring it back? I mean, somewhere in the information loop, something had to have just gone completely wrong. And he did nothing. Like, this was not, who brought him this as definitive information? If this is a oopsie by him, if this is not just a planned operation, clearly it's someone's planned operation. Some reality TV politician producer came up with this one, and yeah, maybe they pulled the wool over his eyes or something. But where was the phone call from him or someone that he trusts over there to verify that information before doing this ridiculous stunt?
Don't need to do that. You don't need to verify anything. This is our world, and we create reality. Breaking news: Jolani HTS invading Lebanon. Someone might check, see what's actually going on there. And we got a couple more, and we're going to wrap this up, you guys, because this is going to go nuclear if we carry on at this pace. It's already radioactive at the moment. There's a lot of banter in the comment sections, and a lot of people attacking Viva Fry. I'm not going to put any of those comments up because that just wouldn't be good cricket. But yeah, so I'll bring up a couple of choice items so you guys can enjoy some of these. And bottom line is this, actually. Here we go. Musk gets government grants, subsidies, government contracts worth billions, who hires some capable engineers who produce flashy yet underperforming products. You could say that's the case in some ways. Again, none of this is inspiring confidence of building Miami on Mars by 2035. Wouldn't that be cool? Remember at the inauguration rally? That's just so cringe. We're going to look back at that, and it's going to be very interesting. I mean, he really sort of pushed the boat out there, guys, on that again. But
was he the one that sent the car into space, or was that the other fool, Bezos?
That was Musk. Yeah, he put a Tesla in orbit along with, not as if we don't have enough high velocity junk in Earth orbit, the damage that could do as well.
Allegedly.
I mean, if I was the Russians, I would send a missile or something and deal with that. But get it out of the way. But yeah. So yeah. Oh, but this is at WD40. What a name. Raspberry. Oh, jeez. I got canceled and don't want back in. Don't trust him. He's talking about they're talking about X. They're talking about what was that Walk of Fame story? Was that you, Ruckus, that was talking, or was that Hesher?
Oh, that was me.
That was I mean, what did so they did a thing around Diddy's star on the walk. I'm surprised they didn't do a kind of ritual, get out baby oil and just dump a whole load of baby oil all over that star, get it all shined up nice, because with people walking over that, it gets a little scruffy. Needs to be kept in. The Diddy trial. Have you guys been following the Diddy trial?
A little bit.
Is it interesting? Is anything
it's
going
insane.
on?
It's totally insane. It's just, it feels like Epstein Part 2. I mean, why was I don't want to say I had to. No one forced me to, but I couldn't turn away from it. Why did I get presented the entire Johnny Depp trial, but I can't see the Diddy trial? I'm getting, we're getting the old drawings and stories and court document releases, and that's it. But no, it's crazy. It's almost hard to tell who's doing parody and who's actually reading from the court documents. It's that insane, just tales of sex slaves and superstars and politicians, doing crazy stuff, and people are making a meal out of it right now. It's bananas. It's totally bananas. And he's only being charged with like 3 things, sex trafficking across state lines, and one other thing. And it's kind of like, oh, this feels a lot like an Epstein sort of trial. Like everything's behind closed doors. We're getting a bunch of salacious media about it. There's no discussion about things other than sex. There's no discussions about money, and I think that's one of the biggest holes in the Epstein story and in the Diddy story is, no one's looking at the money exchanges. No one's looking at, and all the crimes are the personal crimes like against Cassie Ventura and stuff are outside of the statute of limitations. So there's no like direct crimes basically, but it's just insane, Pat. And I'm not surprised it's happening, but at the same time, I kind of can't believe it. It feels like we've approached some sort of nexus point here where it's like all the old conspiracy theories are being sort of laundered by the mainstream media, sort of washed and brought into social media for everybody to buzz and be obsessed about. And the final narratives are all set. We just saw Kash Patel and Bongino set the final narrative for Epstein. Oh, changed my mind. Everybody saw the documents, definitely killed himself. And they'll make these crazy faces while they're just eating glass while they're trying to say it because they know it's not true. You can see it. I've watched like psychologists analyze the face that there's YouTube videos that are going viral right now of these 2 guys and then the facial reactions that they make while they're saying it. And it seems like they're lying. It straight up seems like they're lying. And then you've got Netflix like doing the sort of like documentaries on all these things as they come out. They've got Hulu doing documentaries on these things as they come out. And they just focus on the tabloid issues of it. And there's no exploration or questioning or analysis about how these relationships all got started. What does Suge Knight mean when he says that Diddy has been a federal informant since the 90s? Is that true? Could somebody look into this? Like, is that not part of the court case? Is it all going to be about, 2,000 bottles of lube, a goat, and, your favorite politicians taking ecstasy and doing cocaine? Like, it's all sex and drugs, salation. And I think there's just so much more evidence. Same with Epstein. They only raided 2 of his like 4 or 5 houses. They did no looking into any of the JP Morgan, the Wexner, Les Wexner connections, like all that stuff. I mean, and dudes are wearing it on their shirt. You saw Ian Carroll on Candace this week with a Epstein map T-shirt. Like he had all the names and connections and all this stuff. And
Ryan Dawson, that's Ryan Dawson's shirt. Ryan
nice.
Dawson, you can do a duvet quilt for your bed with them. Not that you'd want to fall asleep with that. I mean, that'd be a good conversation piece with your whatever your partner. I mean, weird, but Ryan's got some great merchandise up at his website, Neocon. I think it's Neocon Report, ANC or antineocon.com. I think some good. There's an umbrella that I quite like on there. Actually, I'm thinking of buying a few for my gifts for Christmas. Well done, Ryan. We might promote your merch, but this is interesting. Howard Lutnick lived next door to Epstein. I've not heard that before. That's Trump's handler, basically.
Yeah,
it's Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary. That is literally Trump's handler. He goes everywhere with Trump. So make sure that Donald says and does the right things. Yeah. Final thoughts, you guys. Basil.
But did Lutnick attend the Diddy party? I'm just curious.
Don't know. Or did he bankroll the Diddy party? We don't know. We don't know. But he was living next door to Epstein. Just a coincidence, though. And Trump was. They all knew Jeff, didn't they? But we didn't, unfortunately, know Jeff. But everyone at that level did, and Diddy. So there you are, Basil. Your final thoughts.
Well, I wonder the extent to which Epstein and his ilk continue to exert influence from beyond the grave, because, to go back to what Alon Mizrahi was saying, it's not a difficult moral conundrum what's going on in the world at the moment. Particularly stark when you have homicidal freaks like Randy Fine going on television and suggesting, after the 2 murders of the consulate staff in Washington, the Israeli consulate staff, that Gaza be nuked. And he said, we had to drop a couple of bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end that war, and that's what we need to do again, effectively. I mean, it's really, one hopes that when you've got people as deranged as that, it's very disturbing that he's a member of Congress, but when you've got people as deranged as that speaking on national television, that ordinary Americans, the Mark Twain readers, the Ralph Waldo Emerson readers, will think this is insane. This is sort of madness now. Quite apart from the fact, of course, if you drop nukes on Gaza, it would wipe out most of Tel Aviv as well. It's not very far away. So, this is really bizarre. But we've got to keep up the pressure on Western governments. We've got to keep the pressure up on the UK government. We've got to be, everybody needs to turn themselves into a one-man, one-woman awkward squad. That we will not tolerate the extermination of, an entire population just because our politicians have been browbeaten, blackmailed, and bribed into submission. So it does bring into focus the crisis of legitimacy in the political class in Britain. As I say, Kemi Badenoch saying on national television today that Israel is fighting a proxy war. Israel is fighting a proxy war, basically a proxy extermination. It's not a war. Let's not give it that term. Really, really, really bizarro stuff going on at the moment. And if Israel get their attack on Iran, it's only going to get worse.
She reminds me of a student body president, Kemi Badenoch, like a student president or something. She's just doesn't have.
Well, the knives are out for her because the Tories are absolutely tanking. They're down to 4th in the polls. They could have as few as 20 or 30 seats after the next election. Certainly the myth of the invincibility of the Conservative Party, the most successful political organization in the Western world over the last 200 years, that's been well and truly exploded. It no longer holds the, public imagination, deference, doesn't have in anything like the way it did even 20 years ago, 10 or 20 years ago.
Maybe they'll bring back Rory Stewart as leader. Now his podcast is doing so well. Basil,
they want Boris Johnson back.
Oh gosh, yeah, bring him back. Bring him back, please. Do us a favor. I can't wait. Basil, thepulse.today. Tell us where they can find you this week.
I'm on tomorrow at 9:40 as a guest of Mike Ryan. That may well be my only appearance next week because I've got a busy week. But I'll be on at 9:40 a.m. UK time with Mike Ryan tomorrow morning.
Thank you. And big thank you to you, Basil, for joining us this week. Basil Valentine, ladies and gentlemen, political commentator, political editor at The Pulse.today. You can find his archive there as well. Dabby J, this is for Hesher and Ruckus to give you a nice smooth exit. The moon is easier than marching off to Mars. I love that comment for some reason. I sort of love that comment. Thank you, Dabby J. That is like top. We're gonna roll out with that one. You guys give us your final exit and what you're doing this week. Go ahead, Hesher.
You can find us in the boiler room on Thursday nights. You can find us on the web at alternatecurrentradio.com. Find me on X at Hesher Media, Instagram as well. And thanks for having me, Patrick. This has been a intense show. I really enjoyed the interview in the first segment, even though it was sort of a lot to absorb. And I think that he really spoke to what a lot of people have been feeling, especially those of us that have been eyes open since the beginning here and are really feeling the fatigue of where we're at. So much appreciation for that and for having me today. Hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend. Stay safe and sane out there. It's Memorial Day weekend, so tensions are high, roads are busy, all that stuff. So be careful out there, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And thank you for being here. Love seeing everybody's comments in the chats and look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, no, likewise. Thank you very much, Hesher. Ruckus, where can we find you this week? Thanks for coming this week as well.
There's a website called alternatecurrentradio.com. Maybe you've heard of it, but yeah, that's where you'll find my stuff. Also, of course, we've been bashing on X, but while it's working, occasionally once or twice during the week, you can always find me over on my X, where I do keep everybody up to date. And of course, I've been doing, since I haven't been doing my regular show, I'm doing the Roundabout Ruckus temporarily, where, anytime I make an appearance on another program. I was just recently on Weaponized News again, so you'll find a new post for that up at alternatecurrentradio.com, as well as another appearance I had not that long ago on the Third Rail with Nature Boy. So that's what's going on with me. Of course, you'll find me on the Boiler Room Thursday nights with Hesher and the gang, and then whenever I'm invited and able to join you here on Sunday Wire. And don't forget, folks, that Patrick is doing his Midweek Wire. It's an excellent program during the week. And in case you miss it and you're going around crazy, can't find it, and you can't even find it on 21 Wire, go to alternatecurrentradio.com. You'll find a copy of it there, just like we do with Sunday Wire and everything else. Make it nice and easy for you guys, okay? Thanks for having me, and may God bless each and every one of you, and God save this republic.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. It's been pretty awesome conversation. So thank you for another great overdrive. And again, thank you everybody on the streams. Appreciate it. I will say sayonara to our amazing team, and we will go out and say also thank you to the great Alon Mizrahi. And what a great unique voice, and what a great person to be speaking up on behalf of humanity. He's got a lot to offer. Do follow the Mizrahi Perspective. That's his YouTube channel. You can see his videos there. Follow him on X. His tweets are excellent too. He writes lengthy and very poignant tweets commenting on what's going on, especially with regards to Israel and Palestine, U.S. politics as well. So that's all we got time for, folks. That's all we've got for today, and we appreciate everybody who has joined us for this week's edition of the Sunday Wire. And again, I'm your host, Patrick Henningsen. And also, listen, if you want to support what we're doing here, obviously we've got this show, the Sunday Wire, which is every week. You can always find us on the various streams on Facebook, X, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, etc., as well as the audio streams, 21stcenturywire.com, etc. So if you like the work that we're doing, again, you want to be able to support us, please. We need your help now more than ever. Just go to the donate button at the top of our website, donate here, upper corner there on the left-hand side, and click on that. All the different options are there: PayPal, credit card, membership, crypto, all the different options, different coins too. If you have different coins, whatever, we can accommodate any sort of support. And also membership obviously is the most ideal. Subscribe and become a member at 21wire.tv. You're supporting our content. We're putting out daily reports, research, plus 2 live programs a week, adding a 3rd program very soon, hopefully this week. Had a little bit of a delay on that, but it's there. It just needs to be sent out to the door, production on to the big screen as we speak. We're working on that, so once that gets rolling, it'll start moving. And we got a membership site as well, 21wire.tv for members, and we're building a community there slowly but surely. Obviously, we need your help to keep this ship going, to keep all of this activity going. and we really appreciate any bit of support we can get from you guys. So thank you very much for everything that you do for us. And if you can help us in any way, any level, it's much, much appreciated. So, but again, I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. Take care, you guys. We'll go out with some, I think, relevant tracks to what's going on in the world, and we will see you very soon. See you on the midweek, hopefully, on Wednesday here on our streams at 21stcenturywide.com. Thank you, everybody. All the best.
For in the final analysis, we all inhabit this small planet, and we are all mortal.
Lately I've been watching the world gone mad. Brothers and sisters full to take a stand, to hate their fellow man, another man. Divide and conquer is the acronym plan. Distract the people, control the story. Don't believe your lying eyes, you know me. Stay in power no matter what. Play with the doomsday clock. Turn a blind eye and gather your trust. Pushing us to turn to good. Corruption and lies. Truth is the crime, will turn to good. Well-designed misery to keep you on edge, make you believe anything anyone says. Keep it left or right, not top to bottom. Accuse the victim, can't you see we got 'em? Stay in power no matter what. Play with the doomsday clock. Turn a blind eye and gather your trust. Pushing us to turn to good. We've captured rights. Feudals our time will turn to dust. Industrialized brutality, commercialized cruelty, people as commodity, cheer on war atrocity, no accountability, perpetual impunity, always have an enemy, the hell of all humanity. Stay in power no matter what. Play with the doomsday clock. Turn a blind eye and gather your trust. Pushing us to turn to good. Stay in power, cash in the stars. Play with the doomsday clock. Turn a blind eye and join the cause. Pushing us to turn to good. An empire of lies. History rhymes will turn to dust. Digital inmates scored on every move. Nowhere to hide. Nothing to hold on to. Turn to dust. As we turn to dust. As we turn to dust.
Me han venido a acompañar esta tarde y no podría ser la excepción. El partido Fuerza, Fuerza. Fuerza, Fuerza. Se vive hoy. Se vive esta manifestación desde el corazón y las entrañas de un pueblo. Por eso hoy queremos recibir a ese líder, a ese caballero.
Are the revolution that you've been waiting for? You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution that you've been You are the revolution.
When you're tired of being just a commodity, you are the revolution. And when gaslit into another war, stand strong because you are the revolution.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution
that you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution. You are the revolution. You are the revolution.
They conspire against you, accuse you of terrorism, to steal your sovereignty. Hold fast, watch it collapse. I know that we still have the power. You are the revolution. They want to centralize, monopolize, control your thoughts. Breathe, go deep, go outside, put seeds in the ground. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for. Alone. You are the revolution that you've been waiting for.
You are the revolution.
You are not alone. That you've been waiting for.
Oh, hi. Is this a trend to the revolution?
Why, yes, my lady. And you're right on time.